Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. So, I don't know if you guys saw, I'm going to throw it up here in a second. Laureano, center fielder for the Oakland A's, yesterday's game. Ball's hit to him. He's mic'd up for the game. And so he goes and picks up the ball, and then he drops an F-bomb on live television. And so I want to talk about this. Again, I'm going to show the video, but I want to kind of get your opinion on your thoughts of players being mic'd up, because this is something that we saw in spring training a good amount. And now in the playoffs, there are certain players that are getting mic'd up during games. And obviously these are games with huge implications. And so I know on Twitter and different social media sites, and people are messaging me online as well, saying, you know, it's kind of split. Some people seem to like this part of the game. Some people are saying this is ridiculous. Why are players getting mic'd up during these huge games with so much on the line? This is distracting for them. And so I want to talk about this a little bit. Put in the comment section below what you think. I'm going to give you my insight on this. Obviously, I've not played in a Major League playoff game before, but I have played in Major League games. And so I can give you my thoughts on, you know, if I would like to be mic'd up and you know, how I feel about it. All right, so let's check out this video right here from yesterday's game. I'm going to bleep out the F-bomb just because I'm sure there's a lot of little kids watching this. They probably all heard this word before, but we're still going to blank it out here. So let's check it out.
Jimenez rips one.
So I know some people wrote to me and said, this is outrageous, how are they letting F-bombs go on TV like this with kids watching and everything. If you want like raw footage of a Major League player, like I thought it was interesting because that's very raw. That's what you hear on a field, right? And I thought it was funny. He picks the ball up and turns in the throw and goes, man, this guy is really effing fast. But I thought that was funny, but also I thought it was just good insight into, you know, here's a center fielder, a big league center fielder picking up the ball, and, you know, you're trying to judge you're always judging the speed of the ball and the speed of the runner. But sometimes players surprise you. I've told my story before with Justin Upton. My first game, it was a spring training game, but it was one of my first games playing against Major League players. And Justin Upton hit me a ground ball at third, and I fielded the ball. I knew he was fast. I'd heard about him, right? He was a high pick. I fielded the ball. I shuffled twice. I threw it, and the guy beat it out on a routine ball. And in my mind, I might have even said it out loud. I probably said the same thing. Wow, that guy's effing fast. Like, that's just what, you know, came to mind, except he had a microphone on. So I thought that was interesting. But again, if you want to mic him up, you got to be ready for some of that stuff, because there's a decent amount of cursing that goes on in any sport, I think. But even in baseball, as boring as some people think it is, I don't think it's boring, but some people do. When we did this in spring training, right, a lot of players were mic'd up in spring training. I think that's a great time to do it. First off, because, well, one, the games don't matter as much, and so players are very comfortable. They're going to talk a lot more, right? They don't have to be, you know, you have to pay attention, but you don't have to be so zoned in that you can't do it, okay? So I thought that was great. I thought it would be more difficult during the season, and especially in the playoffs. I probably at that time wouldn't have thought they'd do it in the playoffs, just because of the ramifications of, you know, there's just so much on the line, and players need to be really, really zoned in. However, I do think it is an interesting, you get some interesting thoughts from the players, right? You're able to kind of get on the field with them. And I know they may not say everything that they're thinking, except Laureano did right here. So that was pretty cool. So here's the thing. I think it really does depend on the type of player you are, right? So there's some players, like for me personally, I probably wouldn't really want to be on mic and be live during especially a playoff game. Well, maybe that's because I just wasn't that good, and I had to really, really focus in and pay attention. And it would have been probably really difficult for me to be talking while I'm trying to play, okay? But that's just me personally, because I've played with tons of players that constantly talk the entire game, right? I really couldn't do it. But sometimes you get to first base you take your lead, and the first baseman does not stop talking to you. It's like the whole time. And so I'm taking my lead and I'm thinking the situation, and this guy's talking to me like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what'd you do last night? Oh, where'd you go? Oh, how's your family doing? And the pitches are coming in, and I'm sitting there, I'm taking my secondary lead, and I'm like trying to hear what this guy's saying and try not to be rude and have a conversation while trying to play the game. And I personally just had a tough time doing that. But there's tons of players that would do that. Same thing at second base. You have the middle infielders. They're holding you on. They're behind you, holding you on, trying to pick you off, having a conversation with you. Again, I would have a tough time doing that. But there's plenty of players that I think for some players, it probably just keeps them kind of relaxed, right? So sometimes you focus in so much, right? And you get kind of frozen, like paralysis by overanalysis. And so some guys just like to be nice and calm. They just like to talk and kind of shoot the breeze. And they're able to still play at a really, really high level. And for some players, I think that helps them out. So when it came down to this, I know that they had asked players and they didn't just say to a player, hey, you have to come on here, you have to be live and be mic'd up. You know, they asked players, do you want to do it? Do you feel comfortable doing it? I'm sure that there's plenty of players that said, no, I don't feel comfortable doing it. The players that are being mic'd up, those players have said, yeah, I feel comfortable doing it, right? And even on air, live, players said, man, this is great. I would love to do this more, or we should do this more, all right? So again, I think the biggest thing is it really does depend on the player. Anyways, that's my thoughts on everything. Let me know what you think. Do you like players getting mic'd up? Would you rather them not get mic'd up? Put it down in the comment section below. Anything else you want to add, let me know. And that's all we have. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you later.